New York State bans classrooms that reach 88 degrees and higher. A middle school bans all black clothing for mental health reasons. And the 10 Commandments are in classrooms in Louisiana. Here's what you got to do. And these are the weird stories for Weird AF News. They have a theme today. It's all American public schools, an area of cultural dysfunction, unfortunately. Let's try and look on the bright side. New York State bans classrooms that reach 88 degrees or hotter. Shoot, there goes my idea for classroom hot yoga right in the trash bin. We have air conditioning in New York schools not mandatory, but a bill was recently passed by state lawmakers, and it is now prohibited for New York schools to send students into classrooms that are 88 degrees or hotter. That seems appropriate. I mean, this isn't the Hunger Games. This is learning that's supposed to be going on. I don't know about you, but I struggle to learn above 87 degrees. My brain just turns into mush. I'm in a closet often, and it's very hot in here. And sometimes you hear my brain go off the rails. That's because of the heat, guys. I don't want it to go off the rails. I don't want to sound like an absolute lunatic on these rants, but I'm in a hot environment. And so I think this bill is very, very fortuitous for those poor kids in New York. I didn't have air conditioning in schools growing up, and I remember struggling through class, trying to pay attention. Trying to stay awake was a chore. I remember the admins had some nice air conditioning in their rooms, and thankfully I spent a lot of time in the principal's office, so it was pretty cool in there. I got some relief. Now we have the governor of New York. Her name is Kathy Hochul. She's expected to sign this bill into law, which will take in effect not this summer, unfortunately, but in the 2025 school year, if the students live that long. We have in this particular story a superintendent named Jason who's told the media that air conditioning units are being installed throughout his school district. He says, quote, "I think if anyone goes back to their years in school sitting in a hot, sweaty, uncomfortable room, it's uncomfortable. In physiology, it impacts... it affects your heart rate, your breathing, and your cognitive functions. When you're in a warm environment, those things don't work properly." Now, it says the project at his particular school, called Maine Memorial, to install air conditioners will be done next school year. The entire project for the entire school district will be done by 2028. So the law's kicking in next year, but the air conditioners aren't kicking in for another 3 years. This is going to be problematic, I'd imagine. Gonna be like, children, strap on your cooling vest. It's just an ice block attached to a rope that you hang around your neck, but anything to get you through the day, guys. Let's do it. It's very difficult to believe that in such a wealthy nation we have these situations cropping up. A lot of schools are 100 years old. They don't have central air conditioning, and it's quite a project to install central air conditioning in these old buildings. They're going to take time. It takes money, which is something our country struggles with, spending on education. You would think they would spend more on the education, help out the kids, the foundation of our nation. But no. They have better things to spend it on, it seems. Not to mention the policymakers in the area of education, school boards, etc., are run by complete buffoons, as you will learn in the next couple stories. Just remember, it's weird news, and it'll be all right. Beep. A middle school bans all black clothing, citing mental health concerns. This story is out of El Paso, Texas. A Texas middle school is banning students from wearing all black clothing because the school officials say all black clothing is associated with mental health issues. I kind of disagree. I think it's more of an aesthetic choice rather than a mental health symptom. But then again, I'm not a mental health expert. Maybe these geniuses at this school in Texas have their finger on the pulse of child mental health. Let's keep reading and find out if they make a very convincing argument. I doubt it. We have students at the Charles Middle School in El Paso, Texas. They went back to school this week, days after a letter from their principal, Nick DeSantis, outlined the school's new dress code policy. The letter says the school is eliminating all black clothing because it is, quote, associated with depression and mental health issues and or criminality. We have here someone named Norma, who's the president of El Paso Teachers Association. Norma explained in more detail why this policy is in place and what clothing is allowed. She says teachers see a sudden change in students going from dressing with color to all black when they are either stressed or depressed. Or, Norma, it could be something else. It could be that they just discovered Morrissey or The Cure. I find black to be favorited among various niches in the culture. Not always depression, but you have your goths, your emos, punks, metalheads. Even the theater kids are into wearing black. And I have to say, oversized people enjoy black because it gives you a more thinning look. What about those poor kids? They just want to be accepted in class and not feel so oversized. They want to feel thin, so they're wearing the black, and you're going to take that away from them? I have some concerns here. Let's keep reading, though. Maybe I'm the idiot. Norma explains that they're not allowing the students to wear the black clothing from top to bottom completely. They can wear, for instance, some black shorts to go to PE, but they just cannot wear it from top to bottom. Many parents and community members disagree with this policy, commenting that clothing color doesn't define a person's mental state at all. Here's a quote from Alex, who says, "The color of clothing has nothing to do with your ability to do anything or feel any emotion. Making students wear a different color isn't going to magically make them a completely different person, I don't think." Yeah, I kind of agree with this parent. And I'd like to raise the point, if the school is so concerned with students that have been identified with having some mental health issues, rather than ban the clothing that they wear, which obviously isn't going to change their mood, as Alex has mentioned, why not offer some mental health support? I know that's a crazy thing to offer, especially in Texas, because it sounds a little too woke, right? Let's get out of here with that woke garbage offering mental health. Everybody knows counseling is for sissies. Just put on a floral pattern with bright colors. You'll feel so much better by the end of the day. Trust me. We're the Texas School Board. But no, rather than really give some mental health assistance, the El Paso Independent School District says in a statement that the middle school is updating its uniform policy to enhance students' well-being and sense of pride. They really believe that your clothing will enhance your situation in your mind for some strange reason. I'd like to know who is going to judge whether something is black or not. What if you show up, this is dark blue. Now I'm wearing dark blue. Now it looks black to me. Nah, it's dark blue, man. Trust me. I'd also like to pose the question regarding this change in the school policy and the dress code and the removal of black. What would Johnny Cash think? I'm sure he'd be none too pleased. Neither would Jay-Z, for that matter. What do you guys think about this? Some of you are parents. Would you be all for this? Call the show 646-450-2012.
Let's rock.
The 10 Commandments are now required to be in classrooms in Louisiana, and the government has some suggestions for the parents who aren't pleased with this. Jeff Landry, the governor of Louisiana, has a suggestion for those parents who don't believe that the 10 Commandments should be displayed in public school classrooms throughout the state. He says, tell your child not to look at them. Wow, what a solution. And what a coincidence, because I don't think lawmakers in Louisiana look at the Constitution either. The Republican governor defended this controversial legislation during a news conference, announcing how Louisiana intends to fend off a lawsuit that argues it is unconstitutional to hang the 10 Commandments in state-funded school and college classrooms. Governor Landry signed the GOP-backed legislation in June, making Louisiana the very first state in the nation to require schools to exhibit posters of the 10 Commandments, which were revealed to Moses in the Bible and remain very revered by followers of the Christian faith. Why stop at posters, though, Governor? Have them put real stone tablets up there. That way, if a school shooter runs in, you can chuck the tablets at the school shooter. See, they would double as a weapon. Now, of course, this move by the governor of Louisiana has prompted a coalition of parents, Jewish, Christian, Unitarian, Universalists, and non-religious parents as well, to sue the state of Louisiana in federal court. They argue that the legislation substantially interferes with and burdens their First Amendment right to raise their children with whatever religious doctrine that they please, And I agree. Religion is a very personal thing for people, and it's something that should be discussed in the privacy of one's home or at a religious facility of some sort. I don't believe the classroom is a place for such things, and certainly when you consider that the public schools are subsidized by the taxes of the citizens, probably not a fair idea to push one religion onto the kids, even if that religion happens to be the majority in the state. It certainly is the majority in the state legislature. And I'd imagine the state is really run by conservative Republicans, and so this is what you get, sadly. Here's another quote from the governor. I don't see what the whole big fuss is about. Of course you don't see what the big fuss is about, buddy. You don't get it. It truly amazes me how far these lawmakers get up the chain in this country while completely ignoring one of the basic tenets, something that this country was built on and what our forefathers were very proud of. And it's extremely clear in those documents that they put together, something about the separation of church and state. It says very clearly that this is not a Christian nation. It's a nation that was constructed for religious tolerance, which means acceptance of all religions. I mean, is that so hard to understand? Are we all getting that? I don't think people do. The governor certainly doesn't get it, and his solution is rather odd. If you don't like it, just look away, man. Well, wouldn't that also work in the schools? Looking away instead of banning the books or the black clothing, maybe just look away. I mean, you could apply this to a lot of things. Hey, maybe not ban pride flags, just look away from the flag. And then, of course, the overall big picture of this is even sadder because Louisiana has issues. Someone want to remind me where they rank as far as education, healthcare, and overall poverty is? And this is how your lawmakers are spending your resources. That's comforting, isn't it? Hey, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News podcast. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I was able to fit together a theme there. Lots of stories coming out of the United States public schools there. They're a little weird, a little concerning. One of the reasons why I've decided to not have any niños, as you all know, Jonesy has a vasectomy, so I proactively made the choice not to raise a family in this country for many, many reasons. Also, yeah, I'm a broke guy as well. The cost of living is just out of control. There's so many things, and they're not that funny, but they are true nonetheless. Anyways, those of you who are parents here, I commend you because that's just got to be a near impossible job to put it all together in this country, given how crazy it seems to be. All right, anyways, let's switch gears and give some thanks and praise. Camila became a member of the Patreon. It was a few days ago, and I can't recall if I gave Camila a shout-out, but she definitely deserves a big shout-out for joining the Patreon, showing the ultimate support for Jonesy and Weird AF News, the one-man production inside the closet here. Camila joining the Patreon, stepping up her contributions here, which is really lovely, and it's just a nice gesture, and I just want to let Camila know how much I appreciate it. Please enjoy the extra content in the Patreon. I've been posting some things in there, and they're pretty cool. Also, I just put out the word today about a Weird AF News Fantasy Football League I'm considering for members of the Patreon. If I can get maybe like a dozen people to want to do a Weird AF News Fantasy Football League run by yours truly, then yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun for this upcoming football season. So if you're hearing this and you're not a member of the Patreon, but you're like a big fan of fantasy football and you want to be in a fantasy football league with Jonesy, consider joining the Patreon. If I can get enough people to agree to it in there, I'll put that together, and that could be fun. Maybe I could give out some fun, weird AF News prizes. I'm open to whatever we can make of it. We can make it our own. We can make it weird. I think it could be fun. Anyway, so those of you who are members of the Patreon, I just posted that question in there this morning. Anyone want to be part of a Weird AF News Fantasy Football League? So that's in there. Look for that. And if you're interested, please comment on that post or send me a direct message in the Patreon. You're probably wondering, how do I join the Patreon? Join those cool individuals in there, big fans of the show. Well, it's pretty easy. Go to weirdafnews.com, click on the Patreon banner, or download the Patreon app on your phone. Just do a search for Weird AF News. It's the only one out there. I left the phone number earlier. If you'd like to email me, it's funnyjones@gmail.com. If you'd like to follow me on the Instagram, it's @funnyjones. And goodbye.